Look, man.
Where?
Oh, I see.
Wow.
Oh my. Bowen, look over there.
Wow, is that
culture? Yes.
my goodness.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. Las Culturistas.
Ding dong, Las Culturistas calling.
calling.
Just for warning, you're going to hear that twice. We're going to ding dong again because we are not currently with our guest of this episode, which you can probably see now based on the title, is with the one and only Cate Blanchett.
Cate Blanchett got a new movie, Black Bag. It's great.
It's great.
I was actually like, I was watching Black Bag, and then I was gonna choose another thing from her filmography to watch
Yeah.
again before this. There's so much. I got overwhelmed.
You got antsy. It's like
I
when
got
you're-
antsy.
when you're at the bookstore.
Yeah.
There's so many options.
So many big, and it's like not even just little options where it's like, oh, could be that, could be that. Big, delicious options. It's like a Cheesecake Factory. Her filmography.
It's a menu with a spiral spine.
This is a roller coaster if I've ever heard one. This is roller coaster number 94?
Yeah, 94.
Cate
Cate
Blanchett's filmography is like the menu at a Cheesecake Factory.
The options. What were you juggling? Did you like whittle it down to a final selection?
I mean, there's always Tar.
Yep.
There's always Tar, but the thing about Tar is
It's a sit.
it is the let's just call it the big steak of options because it's long. It's a big
And
old
it's the
film.
most Kate you're gonna get. It's the most bang for your buck Cate Blanchett you're gonna get.
Yes, but having already seen that several times,
Right.
and then I thought, why don't we do Carol? And I thought, I was like, this could be good, but I've also seen that a couple times. And then I thought Notes on a Scandal, which is ultimately what I went with because I know that's what you went with.
That's what I went with.
This is my favorite film in her filmography. We'll tell her.
Notes on a Scandal?
I think it is.
She
Just
is
because I
real-
love melodrama. We are off track. So the reason why we're doing this is because we're getting on, because we want to give you a little bit of a culture catch-up. We know
And-
that people have been sort of
Yes.
desiring this.
Because a lot has happened
Wow.
in the last month.
Where do we start?
In our lives, and of course in the grand scheme of things, but we just thought we'd give you like a little sort of hybrid episode, and I feel like someone like Cate Blanchett deserves a sort of like little preamble because it's just going to be a lot.
Yeah, I also thought to myself, I'm like, what if Cate Blanchett came in here and we did like a traditional intro and Cate Blanchett, the legendary Cate Blanchett, was just sitting here? So we'll probably do like a 30-second intro for her and just get into it because I actually can't bear the thought of her sitting here
Listening
while
to
we're
us.
like, so what the thing about like my favorite soup is, or whatever dumb shit we would say.
What's your
New
favorite
England
soup?
clam. Thank you for asking. I was just wanted to say New England clam, but it's hard to pick a favorite soup.
It's so hard.
I don't think so, honey, having to pick a favorite soup.
Oh.
And it feels like the pressure is always on to choose a favorite soup nowadays.
Well, I feel like that's a self-invented pressure that because you just brought that up as like an example.
You
of
don't
a
feel
dumb-
that pressure day in and day out?
Ever since Hale and Hardy has disappeared from New York City,
can't even talk about it.
I'm no longer making the decision of what soup do I want today. It is nosedived, and it makes me sick because it used to be like the only thing that gave me joy was to like pick a new soup,
Oh.
and now I just don't encounter soup as much as I would like.
Excuse me. First of all, let me tell you something. Hale and Hardy, that was a great American institution. And I'm so disappointed in all the consumers of America and everyone that eats food out there. What you did, what you allowed to happen to Hale and Hardy is unacceptable. Because where else are you going to get, 12, 13, sometimes 14 options of soup? When you see Moroccan lentil on a menu,
Add to cart.
add to cart because you're lucky to have that opportunity.
And now,
Unbelievable.
I'm sorry. There have been rumors for I want to say decades now.
Sick of rumors starting.
Rumors starting that it's coming back.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Shut up.
I've heard this for years.
No, it's 2025. We don't have optimistic thoughts anymore.
Who are
all right?
you? Who are you? The one that got away and picked up and moved to a different town? And you're like, I'm thinking of moving back to New York.
Lose my number.
Lose my
if
number.
that's who you are, vis-a-vis Hale and Hardy coming back.
Vis-a-vis. Ooh.
You know, vis-a-vis.
Vis-a-vis. So in French, if it's
You don't think that vis-a-vis is more fun?
it's very fun. It's not the French way to say it. But you can say you can say vis-a-vis.
You have to understand, nowadays, Bowen has to be helping me with this because we're going to Europe.
We're going to
We're going to Europe.
very tar-coated. She would fly back and forth, you know?
Yeah. A cultured woman
cultured
with
woman.
secrets. Can't wait to ask Cate Blanchett if she has secrets, too. What was your favorite? What? We were talking about soup.
We were talking about soup. We were talking about preamble, culture catch-up.
Yeah.
Favorite role is Notes on a Scandal.
Yeah.
This is what I was going to say. RKPFKs, whatever.
RKPFKs.
We're missing a K.
What?
RKPFK. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. It's getting unwieldy. I was going to say, hold me to account. I want to ask her if she thinks, well, I guess,
what?
Is there any use to this? I want to be like, do you think they would make Notes on a Scandal now? Like, you would not be able to have, like, Cate Blanchett make out with a teenager.
Not just make out. Fuck in a train yard. Can I tell you something? She fucks that kid.
Shit.
I mean, and listen, it's...
But that's the whole crux of the film. That's the scandal.
I didn't write it.
Podcast on a Scandal.
Oh, my God. That's the sequel.
That's the
Starring
sequel.
us. Wait, who's Kate and who's Judi Dench?
I'm Judy.
I love that you really...
You're Sheba.
I am. Here I am!
I do think what we should do, and it will be embarrassing, but we should say the iconic line to Kate.
You think this is a love affair?
You wanna fuck me, Barbara?
You wanna fuck me, Barbara? Oh, how come I thought you think this is a love affair? It was clearly you wanna... Fuck, you know what? I have a You Wanna Fuck Me, Barbara t-shirt that I had made as a rap gift for game show, and I it's in LA. I didn't wear it today.
Where's your Lydia Tarr Innocent t-shirt?
Oh my God.
We should have worn that. It's okay.
I'm literally thinking, can we make it home?
No.
This sucks.
It's okay. We'll just tell her. We'll show her the photo.
We should both have been wearing our Lydia Tarr is Innocent t-shirts. What if she had been like, she's not.
She's not.
She was an awful woman.
She
drops in. She's like, I don't like this at all.
I don't agree with this. This is our culture catch-up portion of the episode.
Yes.
So let's just make the list now. Let's just make the programming.
Okay, Lady Gaga was on Las Cultch. Bowen sang with Lady Gaga in 2 sketches and became best friends.
Matt was front row at the Oscars
Don't
while
do
I was
this.
backstage.
No, Bowen presented at the Oscars. It's not Matt was front row at the Oscars.
Matt was front row at the Oscars.
No,
ultimately.
I have been such a happy accessory this past month. You have no idea. I feel like the most beautiful purse in the world.
Stop it.
No, stop. I love it.
I feel like
I'm your emotional support animal, and I'm so happy about it.
But it's like it's like when a movie star, it's like when an actress like brings her dog to a red carpet. Let's say like someone like Demi Moore brings that dog, I forget the name.
We're gonna call him Pip.
It's like, well, everyone's obsessed with Pip. You know what I mean?
I mean, what's really happened is we've fulfilled the prophecy. I'm busy.
I'm busy.
Phillips. You are Michelle. I'm busy. The prophecy has been fulfilled. There's officially a gay Michelle Williams and Busy Phillips.
No. I am not Michelle. You are not busy, and that is both like. That would be a disservice to both of them and us.
Excuse me. I'm saying this with all the love in the world for both of those legends, and I'm saying it with a lot of love for us.
But I'm saying, like, there's something about... Listen, I'm walking on to the red carpet of the Oscars, and it's everyone being like, Matt Bowen.
They are not.
In a way that was like... That filled me with such profound joy. I was like, yes.
We slayed the glam bot.
And I'm just like...
And they're talking about it.
I can't believe I'm here with my best friend at the Oscars, and we're like... Put your hearts up. And it's really... It was so... I still have to journal about SNL 50. I feel like RKPFKAFs, JK, we're not... totally satisfied with our SNL 50 recap.
No, they weren't.
We're happy to go into more detail with that.
Let's say top highlights. Let's start there. SNL 50.
Okay.
Top highlights for you.
Waving at Cher backstage.
Yep.
Doing the pre-tape with Andy Samberg, which was so much fun.
Yes.
Just loving the moments that we shared together with everybody. It felt like this wonderful family reunion. It felt like we were all sort of giving each other... It was like a Dickensian experience of like everyone was being visited by the ghosts of SNL past, present, future in a way that was actually like not terrible. Like we were all Scrooge and we all were waking up on Christmas morning. Like God bless us everyone. And that was the highlight for me.
Yeah. I mean,
Matt got to. Everyone was obsessed with Matt working the carpet.
that was fun. I will say one of the highlights after it for me was when. So you've been on it before, but I made my at Nikki C. Bell debut on TikTok.
Yes. We love Nikki.
Obsessed, deeply obsessed. And I was I'm of course watching it, bed rotting, like watching the TikTok in bed. And then
Like Nikki is.
Like, yeah, exactly. We were very much simpatico there. I was like, I want to lay down too and be lazy looking at my TikTok. And then I see myself and
What did
he
he say?
goes, not the right color. And so then I follow. I wasn't following him, so I followed him, which was a mistake on my part. And he sends me a message, and he revealed himself as a reader. I don't know how he identifies.
Oh my God!
But
He's a finalist.
I go, just so you know, it wasn't as bright in person.
Great.
And
what did
he
he say to
goes,
that?
okay, I get it. Yeah, totally. But I loved it.
Oh my God!
Because it's a celebration to even be on there.
of course,
Love that.
He had to press save on a photo of you. You know what I mean?
It didn't look that bright in person. Like, I absolutely loved what I wore.
The blue? Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
Thank you.
It wasn't even like it was not like a jewel tone. It was not even, but it was
Certainly not.
But it was still.
Can you imagine me in a jewel tone at the
Absolutely
SNL 50?
not.
Just like,
But it was just like a deep, sumptuous blue.
yeah, it was
what I mean?
great. By the way, I don't know why I pictured me in a jewel tone at SNL 50, and this was the pose. Like, wait,
Like Leah Michelle.
like taking your two hands on me and pushing like your hips forward and like this,
Clavicle. No, your clavicle first.
and you just hear
Matt.
over here, Matt. And you know what they always say to me? Big smile, Matt.
Big smile. Chin up. Chin up. Chin up. Chin up.
Down,
No, down. Chin
And
down.
that's too much.
Chin down. A little bit of a smile.
Over here, and they're always over.
your left?
They're always, and you know what we should do, even when our backs of our outfits are really bad? Just
Over
go,
the shoulder. I love an old. I love that. I love
like
it when
you're
that
fucking
happens.
Gwyneth.
Oh.
Anyway,
you're fucking Gwyneth.
SNL
Okay.
50 was amazing. Oscars. You really did crush that presenting, and there was BTS. It was back and forth whether or not that bit was going to happen.
Yes.
And you stuck to your guns.
I stuck to my guns. The producers pitched the idea. The producers and the writers, wonderful team. They're just like, for working the Oscars, they are a cool, chill bunch. They're like, yeah, whatever. It's like these people do it. This is their thing year in, year out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know how this all works.
Yeah.
They're at the Dolby. They know where the bathrooms are. And it was so much fun. I stayed up after SNL, got on a plane, took a little gummy, conked out, woke up, went straight to the Dolby, felt great, did the bit, had lovely stand-ins, saw the rehearsal for Defying Gravity, the Oz medley with the
That
stand-ins,
was
and I was still gagged. I was like, it's not even Cynthia and Ari doing it, and I'm still like in tears.
You actually just saw that like stand-ins. Like
It was these stand-ins who were slaying.
Yeah.
Who were not. I would say like maybe they were professional vocalists and singers, but they were just like. But I even saw the shot of like Ari in the background.
Yeah.
Like the two
that
shot,
was a great shot.
and I was just like, and it was just like Miss Thing, and a blonde girl in the back. Just kind of like watching this other woman on like the raised platform, and I was like, this is gonna fucking.
The stand-ins for them, just like
it was
seeing
so-
the staging
No,
and like.
and me and all of Conan's background dancers for the opening bit, we're all just dying backstage, being like,
obsessed.
this is so fun.
I also want to say, in terms of stand-ins, shout out to whoever was sitting next to me for 90 minutes. So first of all, Bowen says to me beforehand, "We're sitting in the front row." I said, "You better shut the fuck up." And he goes, "Also, I can't be with you for like," he goes, "for the first 40 minutes."
first
because
40
I'm
minutes.
presenting the fourth award, and I have to get into the costume because we are doing that bit.
Yeah.
Like it went back and forth
Yeah.
about whether that was going to happen because it was going to be a big costume change.
It was gonna be a
for
big
you.
costume change, and they weren't sure they were gonna have the proper rehearsal time with me because I was flying in the day of.
Yeah.
And so might not have happened. And so I told Matt I budgeted 40 minutes. It was the full
It was
first
90.
90 minutes of the show.
It was 90, and literally
3-hour show.
I'm with this seat filler the whole time, and she, probably 70 minutes in, turns to me and goes, "Where is Bowen?" and I go, "Am I not fun, or are you not enjoying being at the Oscars?" She was in great vibe, but I
I'm
will
sure
say,
she had to go to the bathroom.
probably, but also I think she was just like, there was a little
Did
bit of
something
like,
happen?
there was a little bit of like, I feel bad that Bowen isn't in his front row seat at the Oscars, and I was just like, I mean, I hope he comes soon. I'm enjoying you.
Yes.
But like, I do want, because I knew you wanted to be out there watching
Absolutely.
it because you missed obviously Cynthia and Ariana,
missed
which was amazing in
I
the
missed
room.
the Bond
The
thing
Bond tribute.
of Lisa and Doja and Ray.
And Margaret Qualley.
And Margaret. Oh my God, Margaret.
Yeah, I mean, and it was, I will say, sitting there for 90 minutes and looking to my left and just seeing all those people, I was like,
What the fuck?
you know what I was really proud about? I was like, wow, I've really managed my anxiety. Because I was sitting there chilling.
Wow, I'm so proud of you.
And I think a year ago, I wouldn't have been like that. I think I would have been like, But I was like, okay, it's okay.
It's okay. I'm okay.
I'm okay. I was channeling Tate.
You were channeling Tate. Tate would be cool as a cucumber front row at the Oscars.
I think so.
She'd be like, this is fun.
Yeah, I think she'd be like, this is cool, man.
This is cool, yeah.
Why would that be the impression?
Cool, man.
But you did finally come out, and we got to see the last half of the Oscars together.
Which was just as fun.
It was great. I mean, the wins went as expected until it was sad. That was a sad moment when Demi lost. But Mikey's so fucking great in that movie.
It's like that's what's. It's not like an out and out snub necessarily, but it is just a thing of like, God, there's just something about the expectation being sort of slowly downloaded into you.
Correct.
Like as on a human level, like if you are told like over several months that like
it's yours,
something's gonna happen to you, something great, and it doesn't, that is very, just for lack of a better word, devastating.
And with a camera in your face, the moment it doesn't happen, here's what I'll say. After that, I mean, and you know, I love Honora. I think Mikey Madison's incredible. I actually think it was even better on the second time I watched it. Yep. I think that performance is great, especially when you see how dissimilar she is to that character.
Yes.
And so I don't think it's I think she deserved to win. But it's just tough when there's so many of these award shows.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like, is it a little too much?
I would say, sure, absolutely.
Like right after another, it feels like a job that can't possibly have any reward outside of like, ultimately if you do win and only one person can, and if you happen to like, you make yourself like a fashion moment, which I'll say again, Brad Goreski absolutely crushed it with Demi all season. I hope she feels good. I'm sure she feels good.
I'm sure she does. And it makes me go, to answer your question, like, is this too much? Like, kill me for saying this. It makes me go like, well, for Culture Awards, like I think we should like build out precursors.
Oh no, the Culture Awards.
We'll have 20 made-up precursors.
No, there's going to be a brunch. There's going to be a lot
governor's
of things,
ball.
a lot of precursors. Like we're actually going to create many other small awards with guilds that we create.
Yes.
There's going to be a Reader Awards, a Publicist Awards, a Katie Awards, a Finalist Awards, and the Kyle Awards. And you are going to get to sign up for the guild. This actually is happening in real time. We've not discussed this,
and we don't think we have the. We're looking at producer Becca. We're like, this is a nightmare in terms of execution.
It's also kind of officially not really up to us anymore.
Totally.
I don't know what we can say, what we can't, but it is.
Matthew.
We are nearing the time of really being able to say something very big and cool. But like, I don't know if it's now. We were told it might be around now, but I don't know.
Yeah. Let's for now. Watch the space.
For now, we're gonna pretend we can say anything we want,
okay.
And we'll be told later if we can't.
That's actually a great way to approach. Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yes, ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
You know, I'm watching the UK season 3 Traitors right now, and there's an Anglican priest on the show, and her defense of not being able to be a traitor is, I can't lie. I am not able to be deceitful. I'm not able to do it. I can't be traitorous.
And was she a traitor? Is she a traitor?
No, but it's interesting because half the people are like, I mean, she's a priest. Like, she can't do this. And then other people are like, no, she can lie. She just has to confess,
which
she will.
Yeah, which she will.
But it's unclear, like, whether or not she feels that way.
Uh-huh.
So just know that you can't trust priests.
Are there fun northern accents on UK Traitors season 3? Because I miss Amanda from season 1, iconic northern accent.
So, yeah, there's a really good. Do a northern accent.
So
Are you talking about this?
northern. It's
Yeah?
like it's very
Scouse?
Scouse. She goes, God.
I really like Alexander.
I really like
I
Alexander.
love being around him. It's Cheryl Cole. I can't believe
I had to murder.
we've got to murder again.
I've got the murder again, and the turret. It's like
In the turret.
the turret.
The turret is a very scary
terrible-
place to be.
It's like Liverpool. It's like it's that.
I love it.
I love it.
I'm
we're
obsessed with it.
we're
You're
butchering
right
another-
up my street. That's famously what Cheryl Cole said to Cher Lloyd.
Oh, when Cher Lloyd was on X Factor.
Correct.
I love that.
You're right up my street. You're right up my street.
This is the most gay millennial shit ever.
Pretty much.
Is knowing what Cheryl Cole said to Cher Lloyd on the stage of X
From being obsessed with X Factor UK on YouTube in 2000. Who knows?
Wait a
Getting a
minute.
call from an 800 number.
Oh, don't pick up.
No, well, now it's in the voicemail, and that means it's in God's hands.
It's in God's
It's
hands.
actually Real Culture number 8. When it
it's
goes
in
to voicemail, that
it's
means it's in God's hands.
That is kind of how voicemail feels now. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You're just kind of. It's a message in a bottle, and you're in a terrible stormy ocean.
Yeah.
It's like who knows if it'll get there. Okay, so Oscars, and then we went to the Vanity Fair party.
Went to the Vanity Fair party. That was so fun.
So fun.
Can I tell you my favorite sentence that's ever come out of my mouth?
White Bestie Summer.
No, what? Not my bestie summer. That was fun.
That was fun.
This is my favorite sentence I've ever said out loud.
Okay.
Madison Beer, do you know Allison Brie? Wow. And they hadn't met, but they did.
They did, and you introduced them.
Well, our friend Michael brought over Madison Beer, who I was so thrilled to meet, and I said to her,
Obsessed with her.
I said to her, Madison Beer, whenever anyone does the glam bot, I say, why are you doing the glam bot? You're not Madison Beer.
We told, and then she died. At
She
that.
loved that.
I was trying to play it cool around her because Michael, our friend,
Yes, Hoffman. Hello.
hi Michael, somehow became besties with Madison Beer within
I get it.
seconds.
I get it.
but minutes before. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have chemistry with people like us.
But Madison was following Michael into the crowd, and then we saw Michael and said hi, and then I look over, and there was Madison Beer in her
Yep.
full glory, and I was like, hey, how are you? I'm Bowen. It's so nice to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to play it cool. How's your night going? And then finally I was like, you came over, and you were like, you're Madison Beer, and I dropped the whole thing. I was like, I mean,
We're
you're
obsessed.
Madison Beer.
And we
We're
invited
obsessed.
her on the pod.
We invited her on
I wanna feel. If you're not listening to Madison Beer's, Becca, are you a stan?
Yes!
Period. Like Madison Beer's music is really good.
And can I say, as a boob gay,
Period.
she is top tier.
And then I was looking to my right at the glory that was Allison Brie, and I said, well, I have to make this happen. I was like, Madison Beer, do you know Allison Brie? And they hadn't met. They hugged. I can only assume traded numbers and became best friends. We'll find out.
What was the vibe? Because we were with Mr. Ham.
Love him.
And the vibe, and for John Hamm to be in close proximity to Allison Brie truly thrilled me.
What? Oh my God. You know what's funny? I didn't realize it until right after. I'm like, oh my God. Fucking Don and Trudy. We're right there.
It was Don and Trudy vibes.
And oh, that was good. Renee Rapp.
Rapp.
You really stay a legend.
This is my life now. This is actually like a perfect microcosm for like what the last month has been, and it is my peak, and like it's all downhill from here. We're at the Vanity Fair party. We're talking. For this person to come up and tap me on the shoulder to be like, "Oh my God, thank God you're here." Mm-hmm. For this to be the person, I'm about to say 3 words.
This was good.
You know, we've all been this person at any party where it's like, "Oh, thank God you're here."
Yeah.
Like I have someone to talk to. Megan Thee Stallion comes up
you
to
go.
me. She goes, "Oh my God, thank God you're here." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Hi."
Hey, Megan Thee Stallion.
Someone I've like fully like been on a professional, have been lucky enough to be on a professional level with and like worked with before, but like it's
Several
still,
times.
It's still shocking to me whenever she's like, "Hi." I'm like, "Hi."
Yeah.
Bitch, it's Tina Snow.
Let's go. That whole party was just like, and I say this in the most like I say this in the most, how do I say that I revere this?
And the most reverent.
I say this in the most reverent way. the most random group of
It's
people ever.
random as
and
fuck.
all talking to each other. And I was like, woo. And then I don't think we can say where we went next.
We can't say where we went next, but I think we can say this because this is actually a huge moment that I want to share with people, and it's like the perfect karmic mwah. We went to a party.
Yes.
And we were the Megan Thee Stallion in this situation where we look around, everyone's way too cool for us. And then this is the person that we zeroed in on, and we were like, oh, we can talk to this person.
Yes.
Chappell Roan.
Chappell Roan. And guess what? The groundwork has been laid. I think
groundwork
this is
has
the
been
year
laid,
for
yeah.
Chappell on Las Cultch.
We're just putting it out there, but
Incredibly cool.
I mean, like, did I help facilitate that introduction between
Yes,
you
you
and her?
did, and that was so kind.
And-
Like she was so sweet and like.
But I got to tell,
love
and
her.
I told her, like, when I first met her, I was like, or when I first talked to her for interview, I was just like, my best friend Matt Rodgers was years ahead of the curve.
Wow.
And I was just like, look, I was like, Chappell, this is my friend Matt. Like, we're
I met
besties, and you two hit it off. She's
cool as hell.
She really liked you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we love Chappell Roan, and I'm excited about. I guess. Oh, by
By the time this comes out,
I guess by the
The
time this comes
Giver!
out / tomorrow, The Giver. This is, and we're headed for a really fun Chappell era. Definitely.
You ain't gotta tell me, 'cause baby, I did it.
I'm excited.
Like a taker. Baby, I'm a giver. I love it. Na 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 na.
It's really-
na 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 na. Great bridge. God, she's a bridge queen.
Thank God too. You
Thank
know what I
God.
love about Mayhem? Not a song under 3 minutes on that goddamn album.
And thank God for Gaga for bringing back the breakdown outro.
Please.
The outros it helps you live in the
Everything.
song. This, I think you can apply this across the board, especially in terms of a pop structure. It's like, outro us. Show off the production, highlight the production. This is just as key in the song as the vocals.
Not to give them too much credit,
Uh-huh.
but her highest pitchfork ever.
Yeah, sure.
8.0.
Mr. Rich. Mm-hmm. Great
And I
review.
think it's deserved. And also, it's so great to see it get the critical acclaim.
But, okay, so are we moving on to Gaga now?
Yes.
Okay. I mean,
Now you know she was on the podcast,
you know she was
which
on
we
the
had to keep a
podcast.
secret for a long time.
yes. And
You love her.
I'm still not. So we're recording this on Monday, 2 days after the show, and just like that is a consummate entertainer in every way. Killa, I got to see the sound check for it on Thursday, and I lost my mind.
So good. One of the most memorable, both of her performances, some of the most memorable in recent memory. We got to go on the floor to watch Abracadabra, and you had been saying, like, Abracadabra goes crazy.
Crazy.
And it did, and we were also just gagged before we started on the podcast. We were like, Gaga performed where Ally once performed.
Gaga performed where Ally once performed. I was honored to introduce her for Abracadabra.
Yes.
So I brought my friends, my dressing room guests, which included Matt, to the floor. We were waiting in the tunnel, steps away from the host quick change booth, where she was getting into her red encrusted Loire bodysuit with
Vocally warming up.
vocally warming up.
Unbelievable to be able to be there while she was like in the zone, getting her voice ready, and then just watching her walk on stage and just destroy that performance.
At dress rehearsal, and I think this did happen on air too, but like on the walkout when she was walking on stage, when everyone in the audience could see her, I've never heard a gasp like that. Everyone's like, "Oh!"
Looks all night too. Like even when she was going over to the after party, like
Yeah.
that was amazing. And just do you see the shots that they got of her coming out of the limo?
Of the limo?
Her one eye, in
The one eye
spot,
poking
like,
out, the
truly
eye,
good.
holding Pip the mouse.
Oh yeah. Oh, holding Pip the sketches were so good too.
Just like,
On fire this week.
and I told Bobby, like, this is like, her manager was like, I feel like this is reflective of like who she is, and you know, maybe even on the nose what the album is. I'm saying on the nose, like my analysis of it. It's like all 10-to-1 sketches.
Yeah.
Weird.
It was weird from the top. I was like, I remember
Yeah.
the first sketch being that scooter sketch.
Yeah.
We were all turning to each other in your dressing room and being like, that was the first sketch was like a huge swing.
Like
Which I love.
I loved, and I'm like, wait, I'm like so invested in this romance now between Marcelo and Gaga.
I know.
So sweet.
was
That
good.
little pug.
That was good.
I'm getting a dog tomorrow.
It is time for you, isn't
It's
it?
I have like dog fever.
Yeah.
And
you're burning up.
I need one, and I'm burning up.
For you, baby. Wow, a Jonas Brothers shout.
Yeah, why not?
Love them.
Jersey Kings.
Oh, I never really think about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I never think about the Jonas Brothers as Jersey Kings, but I guess it's a rule of culture, number 30. The Jonas Brothers are Jersey Kings.
And then can't believe I got to sing with her twice. That was never the plan.
Bowen, that was amazing.
The plan was always just, let's have fun. I'm gonna try to write a couple things,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just lucked out in every possible way like this past week.
You sounded so good. And I was like, did you actually do some sort of little vocal training? Because your placement and like the ease with which you were getting up there, you do sing very high, but like you were very like
something about being next to her.
Yeah, like osmosis.
I know that sounds crazy, but I would say at Chromatica Ball,
yeah,
I was the best singer.
Well, we were on a lot of mushrooms.
We were on a lot of mushrooms, but there's something about the chemical shit that happens, the neurological shit that happens in your body, your brain chemistry giving you
singing ability. Y'all just hit 35 minutes, by the way.
Thank you, Becca.
Oh.
No, that's a great way to communicate with us because we're just in it.
Do you know that's how producers talk to housewives on set? Yeah, so they have like, so what you don't know is
what are you on right now? Google Docs? What are you on?
It's a Google slide.
That was a
so
Google slide.
Becca put up a Google slide just on a white background that said, y'all just hit 35 minutes BTW. So I, at one point in my life, was hanging out with someone who produces for the Housewives.
Yes.
And they were telling me that the way that they get them to ask certain questions is they'll put up like a tablet and they'll show it to Meredith Marks and they'll be like, ask Angie about this.
On like at the restaurant.
And that's how they get reminded to answer certain questions or ask certain things, etc.
Wow.
It's just a producer like our very own producer Becca was producing us just now.
Yes.
This is how it works.
It's kind of like some person at a club like holding up their phone being like play play
Stream Mayhem.
Stream Mayhem, play Biophilia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's you.
That's me.
Play Biophilia.
Okay, what else?
talking
What else?
about before
Gaga.
Oh, yeah.
I just
Amazing.
Oh yeah, vocally. No, we did like extensive music rehearsals with her in a way that like made me really appreciate like, because she just kept turning to me and going, it'll just be so much funnier if we sound great. And I was like 100%. And she was just so exact about the way things were phrased and the way things scanned on the melody, and so we found the right key because like it was in G, and then we got it all the way up or down. I don't know.
Girl, you were up there.
We were. I think it was a B sharp or a B whatever. It was just like we just like tried it out all these different ways.
You got in your pocket.
But like to find the right key with a duet with Gaga, I didn't realize until literally just now what that sort of what that means to me.
Yep.
And it was so fun.
I mean,
I can't believe it. And then
it's crazy.
And then I don't know, like what she said to us, what she said to me and Celeste. Newsflash: she loves Celeste. Everyone loves
Celeste.
Any person who you would think like seems distant or I don't know, like unassailable in a way, is obsessed with Celestium. And I get it.
Yeah. Who wouldn't be?
Christopher Vega.
The Christopher Vega.
It's Matt's nickname for Celeste. For some reason. And just
it makes sense when you're there.
It makes sense when
it's
you're
like
there.
being next to Gaga singing.
Exactly.
It's like, you know.
But Gaga was just like telling me and Celeste, just like she kept, and this is what she brought up on our episode, like community. She's really been revisiting this idea, this thing that she misses a lot about coming up in New York, is that she was like every night doing shows at the Slipper Room, like having comedians on or doing like you know what I mean? Like she was
She was a New York artist.
She was a New York
and
artist.
Community is so important.
Doing her, I would say, like, very different version of like what you and I were doing. Not to like compare things, but it's like you and I would like bring our fucking props to like shows and like be on lineups with people, and that's how we got to meet people, and that's why we still keep in touch with these people and still have these relationships that we cultivate. Like, I love that this is the thing that she's like really returning to, because she is like grounded and happy and like really inspired in a way that like we haven't seen in a long time. Not since Chromatica, but that was like during COVID when like we couldn't really see it. She wasn't really out there doing too much press for it, and it feels like in the last 5 years she's really been in that place, and I just love that we got to intersect at all with her, that you and I did, that the show, that SNL did.
She's on like a mission of joy too. I feel like the like emotional landscape of Chromatica was different.
Yes.
Because it came from a different place. Like she's on record saying it came from a place of real pain, and so she's so clearly joyful right now, and there was something about like, even with watching her like, bounce from sketch to sketch at SNL, etc., like watching her do the press that she's doing surrounding Mayhem, and that she involved us in that, was so lovely. And you know, it's just, it feels like it's a really good moment. I also think, you know, I'm obviously sitting here gagged at your singing in that sketch, but I don't think she's sounded better in years. And we were saying to her, like, obviously on the album, the way that she sings is just so mind-blowing, but you know, I think it's the best singing that she's done in which is obviously saying something. She's one of the greats, but
Perfect Celebrity? You kidding me?
I mean, even at the end of How Bad Do You Want Me, it is happening again where I listen to an album and I love everything on the album, but I get stuck on one song.
That's totally normal.
It happens every time something comes out. I get stuck on one song and just can't get over it.
It's so...
I love it. It's so interesting watching the fans discuss that song.
Well, you know, but Bobby Campbell was saying like the day of the album coming out, he goes, it's just so interesting because like so much of what the fans are saying are just echoes of what you and Matt were saying in the
as
hotel,
we listened to it.
Yeah. And like it never crossed their minds. They were like, oh, I guess it does sound like a Taylor song.
Because I did say 45 seconds into listening to How Bad Do You Want Me, I did say, this is giving Taylor.
And Bobby was like, really?
Yeah, and I was like, but is it not? Like, it's sort of... And that has... I will drag myself now, and I will also drag everyone who's kind of saying that, and here's why. Don't get upset yet. What I'm going to say is, Taylor didn't invent that kind of pop music.
No.
Go back to the fame. Like, before Taylor was doing pop, like... Lady Gaga had big emotional pop songs, like Paparazzi, you know what I mean? Like, that's a big emotional pop song, and like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, Gaga also has roots in this kind of thing. She hasn't done it in a while.
Right.
But I feel like to give this entire genre to Taylor speaks a little bit to, like, Taylor's omnipresence, which I guess is understandable.
Yes.
But let's not say this isn't a Gaga song, because it's very much a Gaga song if you give it some thought, I think.
I just love that I'm in this. I like that I'm able to radiate out from this album and connect it to other Gaga things where I'm like,
yes,
this is the same woman who sang fucking Edge of Glory, which is basically like a Springsteen song, who sang Shallow, obviously, like, and everything off of Joanne and everything, and like with Rick Rubin shit on Art Pop. It's like she's so expansive as an artist. Like,
it's a culmination.
It's like she's my favorite. She's my favorite.
Name another legend.
Anyway.
All right. Did we feel like we did a culture catch up? Is there anything that we missed that people are going to be saying, well, they missed it, which is just, it doesn't feel good.
Doesn't feel good. No.
Oh, God.
We don't like that. No, I think we covered our bases. And now we present to you our very, very... We don't know what the conversation is yet because we haven't had it.
I have some thoughts about things to ask her.
Me too.
Wouldn't you believe it?
Wouldn't you believe it? But we're so excited to talk to Cate Blanchett. Here it is, our conversation with two-time Academy Award winner Cate Blanchett.
Ah! Ding dong,
Las Culturistas calling.
Well, we're sitting here with one of the greatest ever.
Truly one of the greatest ever. Okay, I mean, we're not gonna waste any time. She's here. We've done a whole preamble already. 2-time Oscar winner, countless BAFTAs.
And the winner of the Cate Blanchett Award for Good Acting at the Las Culturistas Culture Awards, which I believe gagged the audience harder than anything that happened that
else.
night.
It was a harder gag than even when, like, I'm going to say Taylor sent in 2 videos and that was a gag. But when Cate Blanchett sent a, I was going to say wordless, but no, you did say the words, I won.
Yes.
And then, you know,
confetti went up in the air.
Cannons.
It was a huge acceptance moment.
I think your dog got scared.
Yeah, it was a big moment for everybody.
Yes.
Well, it deserved it. I mean, this is the star of Black Bag, which is out this Friday, which we saw. We love Soderbergh's new one. I mean, so exciting. And let's waste no more time. Everyone, please welcome into your ears, Cate Blanchett!
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, we just discussed a shoe theory.
Yeah, tell us this.
No, I was told today.
What?
While I was wearing white sneakers, that if you wear white sneakers, it means you're not getting any.
But
you are not a fornicator. And I just went, hang on a minute. I'm a huge fornicator.
Massive.
And I've been sending out really bad signals for quite a long time. I have 3 pairs, which I wear. I alternate. So I'm basically I'm not today. I'm wearing heels.
You're wearing heels.
But a lot of the time, I'm sending out non-fornication signals.
Did this person seem like an authority on this, or were you like, okay?
He said it with great authority, but I was very alarmed. You know, you think you get dressed, you're getting dressed for yourself,
yeah,
right? You don't I mean, I didn't overthink the sequence today at all.
You're in the right place.
But you don't think that's a signal you're sending out.
Right, never.
Maybe if you wore a nun's habit or a next to knee and gloves, you think maybe.
Oh, so is that what this person was saying? Like it's a chastity signal, like.
Well, I don't know. It seemed to be a little bit like wearing your keys on whichever. Is that really 80s?
Wait, what's that about?
Like
oh my God,
like
you
visible
guys
keychain?
I am so
no,
much older than you. This is
know
so
what this
70s
is.
and 80s.
I think this
I'm
could
not
come
even
back,
gay,
though.
and I know this.
Like as a way to like say.
No, you just
what?
did that. So if you do that, does that mean I'm available?
Oh, I'm
gay
available.
language.
Everything I do is shouting that I'm available. And I also want to say
Same.
I wear white sneakers a lot.
And you were saying,
and I don't have problems.
Before we rolled it, Matt was
sex problems? You don't have problems
certainly not.
getting it.
No, I'm saying my sluttiest times were when I was in a white Converse. I used to wear a white leather Converse to like weddings where I was single.
But were you wearing anything else?
I was wearing like a blue suit or a red suit,
Okay.
my wedding sort of drag.
Yeah.
And then a white leather Converse because I think I'm gay and can get away with it. You can go to a straight wedding and you can kind of take a swing with the shoe.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But not with a white Converse. Apparently. Did you get any that evening?
I did. I hooked up with the bride's cousin.
So
There
it's
you go.
rubbish.
Yes, I'm telling
I
you.
don't need to be worried.
Yeah.
I can put them back on. My bunion will be so happy.
There you go. Buy another pair.
I'm going to buy another pair.
Honestly, though, because they're white, they get a little scuffed. You need a backup and a backup,
Sure.
backup.
Well, that's what I said. I said in a very apologetic way. I said, well, they're a little bit scuffy and dirty. So does that mean...
It
I
means
don't know.
you've been
Is
out in the
that desperate?
streets.
Maybe that looks desperate. That's
Mm.
like I'm trying to pretend that I'm not wearing them. Anyway, I was freaked out
No.
by a message that I didn't know that I was sending.
I don't believe anyone beliees that.
That I'm not getting any.
You don't
okay.
give celibate.
Okay, I don't give celibate.
No.
Thank you so much. I came into the red room and I
Could you
feel-
play celibate? Could you play celibate?
I think
Have you
could-
ever played celibate?
Have you played a nun?
Not intentionally.
Right.
Yeah.
I have played a nun.
Uh-huh.
An alcoholic nun. Yes.
An alcoholic nun?
Yes.
What film was that?
Who then prostrated herself on the grave of a priest. But I don't think that was sexual.
Okay.
At
it's
least
about something else.
intentionally. But
Yeah.
then, yeah.
I see. And did it feel right in the body? Did it feel good in the spirit? Like you would do it again?
Yeah, I didn't wear underwear,
Okay.
but it was set back in time.
Yeah.
You know the worst. Now, speaking of not wearing underwear, when I played Queen of the Elves, they gave the I don't know the toy manufacturing thing to some company,
Sure.
and a lot of the hobbits were very upset because they didn't feel that those toys were going to be made properly. And I had one child. And I have 4. So clearly I fornicate.
There's no issue here.
But I gave the elf toy, of me,
Yeah.
of Galadriel, to my son. And he was really upset because he said elves don't wear underwear. And they hadn't bothered to put underwear on the elf toy.
But they did for the
And I
hobbits,
went,
you said?
No, but the hobbits were upset because they didn't feel the toys were going to be made properly. And they weren't because I wore
weren't.
underwear as an elf. I think elves do wear underwear.
Elves do wear
Yeah,
underwear,
I
but
think so.
When you say the hobbits were upset, do you mean the actors who played the hobbits? Or are you talking about the
My
fans?
hobbit friends.
Yes.
No.
The Hobbit community.
Oh, I meant the actor hobbits.
Yes,
like
of
a-
course.
They're not really
Elijah.
hobbits. They're
Right,
actors.
right.
Yeah,
Little
Elijah Wood is not
BTS,
really.
they weren't
a
really
hobbit.
hobbits.
Yeah.
No. I guess I have not ever had the experience of having a toy made of me in my
Oh,
fashion.
you will.
I don't think so.
That injustice will be corrected.
But do you have input in that process?
Well, no, clearly I didn't because if
Yeah.
they had asked me, I would have said they had knitted underwear.
Yeah, knitted.
I think
Knitted.
Galadriel out of elf kind of web.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if you're immortal, if you're an elf in Tolkien's world, in Middle Earth, it's like,
You don't need to wash your underwear, but you need to wear it.
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow. I never thought about their process in terms of like their sartorial
I know,
nature.
you should see this toy. It was really
Yeah.
distressing. It's like Barbie not having genitals. Do you
Yeah.
think after the Barbie movie that the Barbies are now going to have genitals? I
That
mean,
would
that's
be
where kids
interesting.
learn about stuff.
You know what's funny? One time that I remember seeing when I was a kid, there was a Ken with like more of a lump there.
Mm.
And I was it did weird me out. And I was like, if people thought this was something that needed to be corrected, I can now tell you as someone who's seen a Ken with a penis, we didn't need this.
But a lump is not a penis. A lump
But it
is
was
a
a
lump.
suggestion.
A lump is something you
Yes.
need to get checked.
Yeah.
Right.
He needed help
Yeah.
stat. But
I know.
That was
I don't
an
know.
infirm Ken.
yeah.
I know. I didn't learn a lot from Barbies growing up. Or Kens.
What did you play with
What did I play with?
as a kid?
I had a ballerina Barbie, and so the crown you could turn her around. But I had one which I loved I had one of those dolls, which was a Red Riding Hood wolf doll, and when you turned it
Flip it?
upside down, it was the wolf, and the other way around. So you can do both of the voices.
Yes.
Yeah, I love
okay.
that.
And the wolf had a
flip-flopper.
skirt?
Well, yes, when it was the wolf.
Right. Oh, but the wolf was dressed as the grandmother. Oh, wait.
Was it Red Riding Hood and the wolf? Because that changes the story
Yes,
in a way
it
that
wasn't
I love.
the grandmother.
Oh, wow.
But the wolf was dressed as the grandmother.
Yeah, but the skirt was kind of brown.
Okay.
It was a bit Amish. It was an Amish.
I got it.
As an
wolf.
Amish wolf. Of
Yeah.
course.
God, what a
Yeah.
performance they were giving.
What did you
Yeah.
guys play with?
I had an Aladdin Ken doll, and he had the suggestion of a lump as well.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
kind of a queer awakening for me. I went, well, he's really handsome. I'd like to see him naked.
Right.
You know? I think, okay, so you're saying children learn from these dolls,
Well, they could.
right?
They could learn from the dolls.
I'm not learning as much as I am just like intrigued by my own like fascination. You know what I mean? Like I'm
With what? Would you definitely, with those dolls, they're made to be dressed and undressed, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
So it could be, I mean, then when your body starts to change and
Yes.
you go, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite
This is
parts.
no longer a lump. It's something. This
it's
lump does something.
It's
Yes.
meaning something else. One
Yeah.
of my favorite parts of the Barbie movie was the depiction of like the fucked Barbie that Kate McKinnon played, the one that was just
Oh.
rode hard and put away wet. Because I really was the king of the Barbies. My sister had dozens of them for some reason. And
And you were never given any?
so, no,
Yeah.
but I kind of was. I remember actually one of my earliest memories, I'm from Long Island, was sitting on Santa's lap and asking for a Barbie and his reaction being really negative.
Oh.
And so
Oh,
I could
right.
never ask for one because it was really explicit in that moment. Like, don't ask for that. Like
Yeah.
this sort of Long Island man playing Santa really instilled
Which is
it in
creepy
me.
anyway.
Exact. I mean, it's really that's all a lot.
We
Right.
did the visit to the grotto with our kids one time when they were little, and they were like, "This is wrong."
And you're sort of watching it as a parent, like seeing the pageantry a little differently, I would imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I was quite traumatized by the Santa Claus grotto growing up.
Yeah.
All the photos were like, "Get me out of here!"
Right.
Kids can smell the booze.
Yeah.
The parents taking the photo are slightly removed, so they can't smell it as
They're
much.
not within an inch of,
Yeah,
of
but
the
I'm
face.
sure that was before they did the safety check.
Yes, I mean, it is like allowing your children to go over there and have like a private conversation with this like
With a dude who's wearing who you cannot recognize.
Right. Yeah.
Who's just truly
Actor.
ensconced in like all this like fun,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
friendly stuff, and it's dark. It's belies something very dark.
It does. Very dark
But
indeed.
the Barbie thing, I remember for us, me and my sister, was a lot about survival. We would play Titanic with the Barbies, and like they would slowly one by
Barbie.
one pass away to the devastation that was caused by the Titanic hitting that iceberg in 1912.
And the one that remained got to be undressed. It was all about, surely it was all about undressing.
It was always like, this is me as a kid. It was always like the
I'm so
blonde,
hot.
prettiest
Yes.
Barbie.
Yeah.
She wore like a blue, very shiny mini dress. And it was always her. She was always the sole survivor, the rose, as it were.
Of course.
But yeah, no, I do remember like really loving that community of women that was the Barbies, the ensemble cast.
I know, and you never had your own. But I only had the one. I found them boring in the end.
Right.
I love the movie, but I found the actual. My kids have never had Barbies.
Probably good.
Would you, besides Galadriel, would you want other characters to be that you portray to be dolls? I feel like a Sheba Hart doll would be very fun. A Notes on a Scandal doll set would be very fun.
That would be interesting. There were some really good games you could play with those dolls.
You know what's funny? Separately of each other, we obviously watched Black Bag, phenomenal, and then we each picked one of your other movies watching last night. Didn't tell each other. It was Notes on a Scandal. It is one of our favorite films. It is fun every time.
Dench.
Oh,
Judy.
My God, she turns 90 something.
Wow.
Or she's just had her birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a
Juno Temple.
legend.
A young Juno Temple.
Wow.
Yeah, she
Oh
was
my
my
gosh,
daughter.
yes.
That's how old I am. Yeah, but she was fabulous.
Yeah, she's
fabulous.
amazing. I wanted to ask, like, the really just pronounced queerness of your filmography. Is that like it's really something. I mean, I was thinking about it, and there's elements of this in a lot of what you do.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, Tar, obviously.
I guess it's growing up in Sydney.
Yeah,
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I spent so much time at Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras, which was just wild. I think it's been a bit OH&S now, but the parties were so fabulous.
I went a couple years ago for World Pride, and I was really blown away by how Sydney really committed to and embraced the fact that they were hosting Pride. It was really lovely, especially now with everything going on.
Yeah,
Looking back
exactly.
at that, I was like, I wonder if an American city would go for it this hard. Because Sydney it really felt beautiful to be there because it felt like a very queer city.
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah.
What is OH&S?
It's occupational health and safety.
Oh,
Yes.
I see.
Did I get the acronym right?
Wait, so and then you're saying Australian Mardi Gras?
No. The things that went on in those
I see,
in
of
those
course.
bathrooms, in those fire traps,
see.
in the clubs that, but you
They got
you were
down to
probably
it.
too young to go to. You know that they've all been kind of cordoned off.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like you would have a fun experience going to. I think those events are still happening the world over.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to. But would
to
you
seek them out in my white sneakers.
and your white sneakers?
Yeah.
Get them
Hey,
dirty.
dude, back off.
Yeah, listen,
Don't you
leave
get the
me
signal?
alone. I'm not interested. Don't you see my feet?
I'm a non-fornicator.
Yeah, hello. Look at the shoes. We're going to Berlin in a couple of weeks. We're
Yes.
going to go to Berghain.
Oh my God.
Have you been?
Yes.
Yes?
Once. It's pretty wild.
Did
It's
you wait
pretty
in line
wild.
and like do the whole thing of being?
Yeah, I knew someone who knew someone who knew someone.
Okay, I gotcha. Was
Yeah.
this recent?
I can't remember. Maybe 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
It was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
pre-COVID, I guess. This will be
But
our first
yeah.
time.
You don't need to keep your eyes open. Things just happen.
Things.
Sure.
Oh. So
Yeah.
You can close your eyes and things happen.
And things happen.
Oh,
Depends. Well, it depends where you are. It's a bit of a labyrinth.
Sure.
And look, there were things and places that I did not go into.
sure.
I'm
They were
just
a bit too gêné for me.
Genet.
A bit too gêné is title of app.
A bit too genet. I just want to go to Did you go to the gelato stand?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
Is this a famous thing?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
gelato stand that people like.
I did.
Everyone's just serving gelato
Oh, I love it.
at all
A little
hours
light
of the day.
relief.
Sure. Just a little
A palate
A little
cleanser.
cooling off, as it were.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
From
fun.
the
Yeah.
delights, from the carnal pleasures.
Yeah. Oh wow. So is this a research trip?
It is.
How did you know?
How
How
did
could
you
you
know
tell?
that?
I don't know. I just assumed.
Yeah.
Always working.
There was a glimmer in our eye.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, we're
Yeah.
excited. We're
Okay.
excited.
I don't want to prize it out. If
No,
you
no,
like
no.
to
You
be
can price it out.
surprised.
I was just gonna say I can't tell if we want to go down the friend of a friend of a friend route or if I think it would be informative for us to wait in the line. And either
Risk
way,
being rejected.
yes.
They won't reject you.
I don't know.
I think they might.
I think I'm.
I don't think you look gay at all.
Would that count against us?
I don't know.
What are they looking for?
I don't know.
You're too gay.
But we
No.
won't wear white shoes because what if they feel that way?
What if they feel what? This week, I was telling Gaga this when she was at SNL. I was like, she was like, "What are you doing for the break?" I
Oh,
was-
how amazing.
Oh, she was amazing.
Just
Phenomenal.
Amazing.
God.
Phenomenal anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But the only thing more exciting was you introducing.
I know.
I'm so thrilled.
I'm not excited. I'm not excited.
I'm not excited. I was
yeah. It was
truly
amazing.
appeased.
It was
that's
volcanic.
wonderful.
I loved
Volcanic.
it.
No,
Yeah.
I did erupt. She was saying that she has been turned away. She's been turned away from that line because they were like, I think the implication was she was like, I think it was because I was a woman and it was a bit too sexy of a night, a bit too fornicatey of a night in a way that was exclusive to phalluses. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So I think maybe that's a thing that happens depending on if you're going to Labyrinth or.
She could have bought one.
Yeah,
Totally.
I'm
We can
sure
all
there's
buy
corner
phallus.
Yeah, we
stores.
can all buy a phallus.
You can't buy a hole. You can't buy an orifice. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, you have many of them.
So many.
Mm.
But don't you want to I think buying a phallus gives you like a degree of removal in a way that you're like, oh, I'm purely using
I
this
can
as
put
an
this
instrument.
away.
Yeah,
I can put this
yeah.
away. Like if a hole's a hole and you're stuck with it.
I don't mind being stuck with mine. I'm quite
great.
happy. I don't want to.
I'm pleased to have all the holes I have.
Yes.
But I'm this.
Talk to me after you've been to Berghain.
Yeah, all Oh my God, great.
Wow.
It's a great point.
Show.
This is a family
this is for
show.
this is for family communities. I don't think anyone's, they're not going to be shook by anything we say
No.
on this episode.
But are you taking in a microphone? You won't be allowed to take it in unless you.
Oh no, we're not taking anything.
No,
in.
but it's research.
It's research where the phone's being put away.
Right.
It's
No
all
phones.
No
Yeah.
phones.
But there's so few spaces that you can go now where you are private like that, where people can really. That's what I loved about the late '80s, going to all of the dance parties in Sydney for the Mardi Gras, is because people were just there. They were so present.
Yes.
They were just together collectively having a great time. That was non-aggressive. No one was being recorded. No one cared what anyone did.
The other night we
You
went
know.
to a place like that. There's a place called Basement.
Yes.
I mean,
Basement
and
Day,
they
New
put
York.
the tag on the phone. It was it celebrated the idea
And
of
it's such a
just go
relief
do it.
of I think people are profoundly relieved
Yes.
when they feel I don't need to record this.
Right.
I can just tell people or not.
Yeah.
But now it feels like that chasm between that kind of event, that ideal is widening from the thing that's very common now at like an award show, let's say, where you've got lip readers, you're being photographed in between like
Lip readers.
Oh yeah, on TikTok there'll be people that are looking at a video of two celebrities talking to each other, and
at an
they'll-
award show.
they'll lip read, and
what
it
the
looks like
conversation
it looks like it could be exactly
It's
what they're
fairly
saying in a
accurate.
way that's a little bit odd.
That's really what I mean.
Yeah.
Dude, do something. Learn Ikebana or something. I mean, it's like a skill that's
There are
actually
so many trades to pick up.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
But that makes it feel even kind of more,
Wow.
Yeah.
treacherous.
Yeah, it is treacherous.
You know?
You do
Gosh.
see celebrities nowadays on the carpet going like this a lot because
Yeah.
those are the ones on TikTok and know they're at risk of being lip read.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's blasphemy. Go back to the day when it wasn't televised.
Right.
Bring that back and just have a great party where people can just let go. I mean, the industry is so scattered in such a point of which I think could potentially be exciting or it could be really depressing.
Right.
But it's at a pivot point.
Yeah.
And so we need to gather together and celebrate what it is that we do.
Right.
Yeah.
Without it having to have any public facing. I mean, the fashion's great and all of that stuff. We
course.
will find out in the end who
Yeah.
won or who didn't win.
Yeah.
Right.
But it would be so nice that happened behind closed doors.
Absolutely.
Be a
We were
very
s-
different evening.
We
Yes.
were saying that, especially after the Oscars just happened, and it just feels like the march to that evening is so long. Do you feel there's maybe too many ceremonies?
Yeah. Well, that's what you're saying. Like untelevised some of them.
Yes. Yeah, still have them. It's so great.
Yeah.
It's so great that people's work is celebrated. And that way, I think there's a kind of a sense that you don't get, because this is the thing, all these films are amazing. And
Yeah.
so many amazing films and performances and all of the craft awards, cinematography, and you want to celebrate them.
Of course.
But you get you can get sick of those films
Right.
by the time, because they all get whittled down as they must.
Right.
Yes.
And then I don't want to get sick of any of those films because they're brilliant.
Yeah, and
You
it's like
know?
on face
And it's-
value, there doesn't need to be an over conversation about Honora the way that it's happening online and stuff like that, to the point where we really lose the
It's just
forest for the
amazing.
trees.
Full
It's a
stop.
great
Everyone
film.
in it is amazing. Full stop. And Sean
sentence.
Baker is a genius.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, he is. I've been such a fan of his work for such a long
Yeah,
time. He's
yeah.
brilliant.
yeah. Red Rocket was
Red Rocket.
It was really
yeah.
incredible.
When she got off the bed
Yeah.
with him
Mhm.
and then sang like an angel
Yes.
at the synth, it was just breathtaking.
Yeah.
Even just his earliest stuff has the same DNA of like the realism to it. It's all pretty consistent. Wait, but speaking of which, what was the most Soderbergh thing that he did on Black Bag? Like, do you know what I mean? Like I feel like he's such an expansive filmmaker. He can do pretty much anything. Like I think it's crazy that he's like under budget so many times when he makes
Under
films.
time.
Under time.
budget.
Wow.
He's got this. He made The Presence. If you haven't seen that
I don't
recently,
think I've ever seen
Lucy
it.
Liu was in it, and the cast
We
was
love
amazing.
Lucy Liu.
And it was set in a house where a family moved in, and it was haunted by a presence, and so the whole narrative unfolds according to what the presence in the house learns.
Right.
So it's amazing. But he shot that, I think, in 9 or 11 days.
What?
So it's like,
Wow.
oh man, how quickly are we going to shoot Black Bag? But the thing with Soderbergh is he's so economical. He always gets into work early. He knows how he's going to shoot it. But the reason why he started to operate, I asked him finally. I'd worked with him before, but I'd
Right.
forgotten to ask him. He edits, he lights,
Yeah.
he shoots, he directs. He doesn't write anymore. But he said the reason why he operates is because he wants it to keep moving and flowing. And he doesn't want the actors to go off the boil waiting around between takes and setups. And so what he does is you start at the normal time, but you're done by 3, which is great if
Wow, huge.
you want to pick up your kids from school
Right.
or, I don't know, get on a plane and go to Berghain, whatever
Yeah,
your
exactly.
thing, Jag is.
Maybe able to fit
But
it
then
in.
what he does, he's such a workhorse, is he goes and he edits. And so then where he spends the money is keeping the sets open. So if he needs to pick something up, he can. And so he assembles the thing, but then he's really forensic. He goes, no, that's too long. No, that piece of information needs to be revealed there. And so it's a really fluid thing with him. And so you've got to dance with him. But he did say, typical Soderbergh was, I said, we did one take and he wanted to move on. And I said to him, I said, are we moving on because you're bored or because you've got it? And he went, yes and yes. And so he was bored with me and he got it. So he's great. He's really blunt, but he really, really loves actors. And the cast in Black Bag is
It's a great
it's
ensemble.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's really. I was
Amazing.
surprised
Amazing.
that it was such an ensemble. Like,
Yes,
and then,
it is.
And then it really is like it's like watching a very thrilling, stylish play.
Yeah.
And I say that in
Yeah.
obviously the most
And
reverent way.
not to spoil it, there's like a fun like almost like Poirot, Agatha Christie-esque ending to it that I loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically about Michael Fassbender and I play husband and wife, and they're espionage, not MI5, MI6, but it's all with technology. So it's it's like, oh my God, I can't even open my phone. But so that was the acting bit that I had to do. But they're devoted to each other. They're married. And then he suspects her of being involved in releasing this cyber worm, which sounds pretty icky.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to hear the
cyberworm.
noise that a cyber worm.
It's probably I was
Did
gonna
you
say.
ever see that
with the little
Cronenberg
beeps and
film?
bops.
You know the Cronenberg film, Existence.
Oh, sure.
We're
the
squeamish.
noise.
Oh no.
The noise that it made when Jennifer Jason Leigh and Jude Law put the portal into their body. It made
Oh,
me,
wow.
Yeah, it made me want to throw. It was like
How did you feel about the substance?
the substance. What the noises and
Yeah,
the
the noise.
substance.
I thought the sound was
Oh,
unreal.
Unbelievable. I had a similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Misophonia? Or,
Yes, misophonia and kinophobia.
Okay.
Which is what Tar had.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So speaking of Tar, because this was truly our favorite movie. I remember we watched it. Or we didn't see it together.
We didn't see it together, but
time.
we both had the same exact check-in with each other. We were like, wow.
Well, I remember leaving the movie the first time and feeling really confused after the first 5 or 10 minutes walking out of the movie, being like, what? And then I realized, like, as I thought of it, I was like, that was phenomenal. And it just wasn't ultimately the genre I thought it was going to be at the top. I thought it ended up being this like incredibly funny satire in a
Yes.
way, and like, but also like presenting as this like very stark drama from the whole time. And it is both of those things. But the question I wanted to ask you was, and I find this with several of your movies, are you ever really surprised when you see the end result of something in terms of the tone and genre from when you read it the first time?
There was so much. I mean, the Tar made in first sitting, because it asks a lot of the audience.
Right.
It made a lot of people really angry.
Uh-huh.
And, I was really grateful to the critics and the people who had seen it, who kept alive all of the other balls that Todd Field had written. Because people said, it's about cancel culture or it's about abuses of power. But it wasn't. I always thought it was about what happens in the art, for me personally anyway. When we create something, we forget that we have to destroy something, and so it's the destructive urge in the creative force. You don't have to be an artist to have a creative force, but we all want to make something in the world. But you often have to be very brutal with yourself when you make that. So, and there was kind of a ghost story in there.
Absolutely.
And so and there were elements in there. I guess it's far enough away. I didn't want to talk about it when it was coming out because you don't want to tell an audience too much with a movie like that.
Yeah. No, definitely
But
not.
we shot things that or talked about things that we decided not to shoot in the end. The gift, and I've got friends who are conductors who have perfect pitch. You probably have perfect pitch going. I do
Please
not.
say this.
I apparently have a 3-octave range, though.
Wow.
Apparently, I just wanted to throw that in there.
There we go.
No, but that she had perfect pitch and incredible music ability. That her parents she was raised by deaf parents.
Uh-huh.
So when I thought about there was an early sequence, and these are very, very minor things that I used. There was a shot, I think, from memory, of her conducting as a student, and which I think it ended up in the movie. And I used sign language to how I conducted that.
Oh,
But
wow.
that was just fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not even Easter eggs because you're not ever thinking that the audience will pick those things up. But there was so much in there, and he's such a great writer. I have to get him out of the barn, Todd Field,
Brilliant.
so he makes another film before 10 years pass.
The barn.
The
Get 'em out of
barn.
there. But it's hard to pry someone out of a barn.
It is.
They're
Why?
cozy. No, I'm just saying, like,
Do you
that's-
have a barn?
God.
You want a barn,
I
don't
want a
you?
barn. I
But
mean,
you
you
want
want a
someone to
barn?
prize you out of it. I'm going into the barn.
I would love a barn. Are you kidding me?
I think you'd be great in a barn. I really do.
Thank you. I think
But I
you
don't-
would love a barn, personally.
Not very good with hay and all that.
No, it doesn't
You
have
get
to be
allergies?
hay.
No, it's just I like my little creature comforts, but so do you. Now I'm thinking you wouldn't love a barn.
No,
You could have cashmere barn, cashmere line barn,
Cashmere barn.
a little barn.
A barn by Wayfair.
I don't mean a barn functionally. I mean a barn just in terms of
A metaphorical
Yeah,
barn.
somewhere to
metaphorical
go.
barn.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I have to get him out of the metaphor. He has a literal and a metaphorical barn.
There you go. And it's it's a two. It's a two for a job. It's like
Yeah.
you got to bring him out of the headspace and the actual physical space.
True.
Well,
Yeah.
True.
I mean, Tar is just for me. Do you consider it a comedy? Because I feel like it's one of the great
I
comedies.
thought
how we
Summer this
feel.
year was really funny.
Yeah.
I mean, how seriously she took herself.
The
know.
second time I watched it, I couldn't stop laughing at the first conversation she's
the New
having,
Yorker
the talk
conversation,
back.
it's so funny.
Oh, yeah.
Just how seriously
Yeah.
she takes herself and
Yeah.
like the performance that is happening and
Yeah.
really the amount of ego. Because
Yeah.
that's really ultimately, I think, it's this like crazy meditation on ego.
Mm.
And
But you well, it is. But you have to, having stepped onto the podium in front of the Dresden Philharmonic as a woman,
Mhm.
but as a conductor anyway, is they sense fear. So you have to, as a conductor, you have to have a lot of chutzpah.
Yeah.
And that you have to say, this is where we're going.
yeah.
And because I realize it's a bit like boarding school. Like a lot of the members, they're all soloists, right? But the conductor has to bring them to make one unified sound.
Right.
So there's a lot of egos and complications. And they would all come up to me and start talking to me and telling me things about, I know I'm acting as the first cello, but I'm really only the second cello. So I'm really concerned about, and it was like, you have to hold all of this stuff together. But I I got up there, and they hadn't played together because of COVID. The orchestra hadn't played together for quite a long, many months.
Right.
And so when I said, look, in my bad German, I said, when I'm, I'm not I'm not a conductor, you're not actors, and we're going to have to swap roles. So let's be patient with one another. And I gave the downbeat at the rehearsal, and they didn't follow me. And I went, let's start again. And they all went, oh, and they realized, in fact, that I didn't, I was winging it. I did a lot of, preparation, and
sure.
I examined the score and everything, and I had the music those bits of music in my head. But it was such a gift because then they had to lean in and realize that we did have to do it together. But it's not a film about conducting. So
It's not. Well, I feel like you telling that story and filtered through the character of Lydia Tarr makes me think of like I am Petra's father. It's like that's the same person in a completely different context of like, no, like she thinks of herself as like she is that person that like is being like called for at the school or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think she was probably mercilessly bullied herself.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's also, I think, when you have an exceptional gift like that, and I always imagined her having parents who were made fun of,
Right.
and who couldn't hear the thing that she loved.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really complicating thing. And I it's all these little things that because Todd is an amazing director, but also an amazing writer, is he put all these little clues in that she went, and she'd obviously spent a lot of time with the Shipibo Kinibo people taking ayahuasca.
Right.
And if I'd had enough time, I would have done a little bit more research into that part of it. But, like she was really adventurous. And so she was running away from something herself.
Right. Yeah.
And also coming out of COVID, I don't know what you guys did. You probably were able to continue the podcast, right?
Yes.
It was,
but if you couldn't
an
do
anchor.
what you do, if you couldn't make music and you were Lydia Tarr for 2 years, what happens? Your creative urge turns destructive.
Yeah.
So, I thought about all of that stuff.
We're talking about so many elements of a movie like this, like, obviously like a huge respect for the director and it like real interest in the incredibly dynamic character and this story that you can read in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I wonder, when you are embarking on something or you're sent a script, is there one of those elements, whether it's like the people you get to work with or the story itself or the specific character, is there something that you feel is what pulls you each and every time? Or is it different? I would imagine it's a combination, but for you, if you could speak to that.
It's the couple of times early on when I accepted to do a script based on the role.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been slightly disappointing because
Gotcha.
it's like a theater script is called a play because you have to play with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a work of literature. And so it's always now, for me, about the director. It's never the role.
Yeah.
So, because it doesn't matter, you could be acting your socks off.
Yeah.
But if the camera's in the wrong position, or that you haven't all been cast in the right way, or you haven't been brought together by the director into an ensemble, the thing won't lift off.
Yeah.
And so it won't mean anything to an audience. And so, for example, with Black Bag, I'd worked with Stephen, and when my husband and I were running the Sydney Theatre Company, he came in our first season, and he wanted to do an all-male production of All About Eve, but we couldn't get the rights.
Oh, wow.
So he got obsessed with Nancy Grace and the Casey Anthony story, and he concocted this bizarre, fascinating theatre piece. But when he called me and said he had a slot, and David Koepp had written this great ensemble
Great.
piece, it was to work with him.
Yeah.
And then,
totally.
of course, it was Fassbinder and Tom Burke, who's amazing, who I'm on stage with, and the Seagull at the Barbican in London. And so it's the director, and then who I'm fascinated with who they want to cast then.
Yeah. You realize that more and more it is about the people.
Yes.
You
And
know?
not
It is.
necessarily about, which
It is.
feels counterintuitive, but it's not necessarily about the content in the primary way. Like,
It's not about the role.
Yeah.
Right.
Because sometimes it's like, wow, that is, that's a piece of action, or I haven't spoken to that audience before,
Right.
or, that's a chamber piece, or, in fact, that character's really still, I've been moving around too much.
Yeah, I hear ya.
So sometimes, I don't know. But I don't know whether I necessarily want to do it anymore anyway. I think I want to spend time with my chickens and my gardens. And
Really?
The barn.
Yeah.
You need a barn
I
period.
knew, yeah. Well,
with
we
an
have,
occasional Berghain trip.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I will venture out to Berghain from the barn.
Come
that I would
with.
do.
Let's go.
We're reading a book now in the research. It's called Lost in Sound. The beginnings of Berghain and the EasyJet set. So this writer
Oh, okay. I haven't read it.
is kind of putting out this theory that like with the introduction of EasyJet in Europe, with budget travel within Europe,
It eroded the integrity.
not the integrity. It just brought people to Berlin, and it created a nightlife capital in Berlin after the wall went down. With techno coming out of Detroit, it's like it all kind of aligned in a way that like made it this still magical thing that must be preserved because it's a cultural site now. It's considered a concert venue and not necessarily a club.
But, they have to be really careful. Having Thomas Ostermeyer, who runs the Schaubühne in Berlin, has directed this production of The Seagull. He's such an amazing person and an amazing director. But they are, so many Australians are in Berlin because you don't have to apologize for, being a musician or an actor or a painter or a writer or whatever, where you kind of do in Australia. But he was saying, like, cultural funding is really going down. And they don't, it's a stupidity from an economic point of view, let alone a cultural point of view. You talk about culture on your podcast, but because of the multiplier effect, it's the restaurants, it's the bars, it's the taxi drivers, it's the cyclos, it's all of those other things that actually suffer when you remove culture from from a place. Apart from that's why, as you say, that's why tourists go to Berlin.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like you have that in America too, of like that apology of like, hey, yeah, I'm an actor, huh? I'm cloying.
People think it's like cool to shy away from. There's a certain sect of people I think that don't stand in like pride for being an artist. I don't know. Maybe it's a self-consciousness.
Sure.
Yeah, or there's a sense that somehow if you are in a creative profession, there's an indulgence.
Yeah,
or
right.
It's elite, and you go, no, it's like you're a member of a circus family.
Yes,
and in the end,
yes.
it's not. It's true. You do it for an audience, and that's where Soderbergh's so great. Is he kept saying with Black Bag, he's like, we're making a movie.
Yeah.
We're not making a film. I want people to go and see this in the cinema and eat their popcorn
Gasp and
and
chomp.
have fun, and it's witty and it's stylish. It's like, you don't have to. Not every piece of cinema has to have the same function or reach the same audience. They're multifarious audiences, but it's for an audience. It's like, I'm not doing it for myself.
Right. Just to speak, because you mentioned that we talk about culture, we're going to ask you the question.
Do you?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a little bit of a unifier on this podcast. Alongside this question, which is, what was the culture that made you say culture was for you? Talking about how you, Cate Blanchett, became Cate Blanchett. If you could think about,
I'm constantly becoming.
Yes!
it could be something you found yesterday.
I'm transitioning constantly. I don't know. Like, I'm so eclectic in. I read Eden Blyton books. I spend all the time on my bicycle thinking I was Nancy Drew or Trixie Belden. You're looking at me blankly because you're
tell us
way.
about Trixie Belden.
Trixie Belden was a girl detective. As was Nancy Drew.
Yeah, of course.
But I think there was a kind of an intersection for me of the royal wedding, Princess Diana and Charles, which was in 1980. At the moment, my grandmother was having a double bypass surgery.
Wow.
So death was meeting sort of life and pageantry. At the same time, the Moscow Olympics was on, and I was obsessed. I did calisthenics, like I'm not very strong, but I'm bendy.
Yes.
Like I put my legs behind my heads. I have no skills, but I can do that and do this.
You have no skills, Cate Blanchett.
But that. And I got really obsessed with, I don't know if this is culture, but I got very obsessed with ribbon dancing.
Oh, that's certainly culture.
And then the
absolutely.
dancing they do with the ball.
Wow.
So maybe it was that.
So will we file this under the bending of it all, like rhythmic gymnastics?
Rhythmic gymnastics.
Yeah,
I
which
think
is
that
huge...
was my high culture expression. And then later on, you saw Picasso painting with light. And so that reminded me of my ribbon dancing obsession. So maybe it was ribbon dancing.
I'm thinking of your performance in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
It wasn't ribbon dancing.
I know, but a dancer. You know what I mean?
I've never forgiven Fincher. He's so mean. There was a dance sequence which I'd
Did he cut
for
it?
ages. No, it's in there.
was gonna say.
But he decided to shoot it at 5 o'clock in the morning.
come on.
Having been called, because he shoots forever, having
Sure.
been called at 9 o'clock the previous morning. It's like, you asshole.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much is me and how much is my body double. But I didn't get to ribbon dance in that.
No, not ribbon dancing, but I just
My age,
I wonder
there's
if,
not a lot of call. They don't ask you to ribbon dance.
We'll write
it
in
for
your
you.
50s.
No,
We'll write you the
that's
ribbon
actually going
dancing.
into
Really?
yeah. We'll get you ribbon dancing.
But the ball.
Yeah,
It's the ball.
It's so beautiful.
What does the ball represent?
The girls in the Olympics
Of course.
who work with the ball and they move it around. And
It's incredible.
It's like water.
Yeah.
It's so magnificent.
I don't even understand how you rehearse
How do
it.
you do
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
It's like magic. If you were to do magic tricks, like pull the ace of spades out of a lemon,
Yeah.
I mean, I would literally pee my pants.
Right.
What's crazy about that is the answers are so simple, but they're done with such
What do you mean the
precision.
answers are simple?
Because like the answer to how the card comes out of the lemon or whatever the hell.
I
with
don't
Matt-
want to know.
But what I'm saying is we don't know, and like for us it seems so crazy, but their answers to that are so simple. Like the sleight of hand is so
Yes.
second nature.
Yes.
I know, but I'm still. Where do you put a lemon up? I mean,
I
that's,
know.
That's. I mean, I don't.
Which
care.
hole?
Which
Which
hole?
hole?
Which hole?
Which hole did that lemon come out of? Don't touch the lemon.
No.
Don't touch the lemon.
You don't want that.
But would you agree that have you ever applied this to your own sort of craft where you're like, I don't want to tell you too much about how I do things?
I never want to talk about it because
Yeah.
I don't know how I do it.
Do you not know?
I don't have a process.
Really.
No, like people say, I do Meisner or Lee Strasner, or I do, Uta Hagen is my whoever it is.
Right.
I read it all. I'm a bowerbird. If
Yeah.
someone has done something great, I will steal it and use it
Got it.
because it's always going to be, reinterpreted through
Sure.
your lens.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I every night before I start a new job, it's always first day of school. I'm always terrified. And I say to my husband, who's so bored with me asking the same questions over and over and over, I said, what do I do? What's my process?
Really?
And he went, just show up.
Yeah.
And so you have to go into a room and go, I do not know how to do this. You humble yourself to the task. And the material and the other actors and the directors and the circumstances reveal what research you need to do. If you need to do any, sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes you just have to be present.
I feel like that's so comforting as an actor to hear even you say that because there's like a freedom
Terror.
that like
Oh, yeah.
is a freedom you can have to give yourself when you realize this thing I have about my anxieties, about being quote unquote good enough, right for it. I was going to ask you how you are about moving on because it sounds like every actor has a different relationship to that. But to hear you speak to not insecurity, but like any apprehension or, nerves about doing something, I think
nerves, for
for
sure.
even you to say that, it
And it gets
frees
worse,
me.
I think. It gets worse.
You think?
Yeah, because then there's a sense that maybe people have preconceptions or expectations if you have some kind of a track record. And I
Right,
think
of course.
you have to risk, I'm sure you both feel this too, you have to, and particularly with stand-up,
Yeah.
it's like you have to risk falling flat on your
Oh.
face. And so if you're not on that knife edge, you're not going to keep growing.
No.
And so it is confronting, but you have to get yourself in the zone where you go, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, my thing with a lot of comedians, and I'm going to say it skews male, but like a lot of male comedians seem to have this allergy to like anything that is theatrical about comedy.
Yes.
And they have to understand that stand-up is just theater. The
Yes.
schema of it,
Yeah.
of like one person being on stage talking to a crowd of people,
Yeah.
doesn't matter how big the crowd is or small, it's theater. So, and they are like performing the fact that these thoughts are coming to them off the cuff when they've been refining this routine for a long time over many experimental contexts. That it's like, let's just embrace that this is all kind of artificial. And I don't know what my point is. I'm just saying like there's
and there's a structure to it.
Yeah.
It's like if you're telling a story and you forget the pivot point in the story, it's
Right.
not gonna work.
Yeah.
But I've always found it really such an education to go and watch stand up at the beginning when they're building the material because in the end, I think the process is the most exciting thing. And sometimes when you get to the end point, the hard thing is to keep it fresh.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
And of course, then there's the thing of, I've now done. I find this with a lot of stand-ups. It's like you see people start to get insecure about having done things for several years.
Right.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's because then it's less even about how do I keep this fresh, and you're like, did I get too comfortable with? Am I too good at keeping it fresh? Am I not moving on and pushing myself to do something else?
Yeah,
and it is harder. It does get harder once you've established what you do when people come to expect a certain level.
And I got great advice from a Hungarian director who directed us as a company in a production of Uncle Vanya. And we'd had previews and they were all great and it was a really lovely company. And he came in and, we rehearsed through an interpreter. And so he said through his interpreter, he said, all of those amazing things that you did last night, they were wonderful. Tonight, opening night, don't do any of them.
Love it.
And it was such great advice.
Wow.
And you go, okay, this is, so I think it's because they come from a culture where things sit in rep.
Right.
And so he's interested in the long-term health of the show, not getting good reviews, because often it's the good reviews are actually harder to deal with because certainly if you read them, you go, oh, that's a good bit, and then it dies.
Right.
So you can't think about the good or bad bit. You just have to think it's all a process.
Right.
Or you just can't stay with it in any case because in comedy they say like your act becomes your enemy. It's like what you're talking about where like
when you say your act, you mean your shtick or the
shtick,
thing.
yeah. Exactly. And like
what you've given.
It's like I kind of feel that way now with like SNL. I'm like, oh, I'm playing another inanimate object. And sometimes and I just want to say
because sometimes in the biz at it.
Sometimes it's not always up to the cast member.
Right,
it's like,
of course.
You're being handed material like, okay, I guess you need me to play, the spy balloon that got shot down. Okay, like fine. And then it becomes this thing that you're trying to pull away. Anyway, this is microcosmically compared to like anything that.
Because I mean, this is the thing is you don't want to be thinking about yourself. You want to be thinking about where the energy that it's going out in your audience.
Right.
And I think when you start to feel uncomfortable about that or habitual about that, then you become self-conscious and the thing's going to die anyway.
Which is why it's refreshing and also sort of speaks to your skill. Besides putting your legs behind your head, is that like you have this, you amalgamate all of these things in your process to the point where you don't have one, which is perfect.
Yeah. I mean, look, I do like having a task that I feel is impossible. So say for something like Tar, I thought, I don't know how to read a score. I learned piano as a girl. But I have to break this score apart and choose the bits that we're going to play, and I really have to learn how to do this. And so, in a way, the part was so overwhelming. It's not a film about conducting, as I said, but it gave me something to do to stave off the anxiety because I had so much to prepare.
Yeah, lots of homework.
So it's just, I think in the end, process is a way of staving off anxiety, which can make you clam.
Yeah. This is a little bit of a left turn, but have you seen Oh Mary on Broadway?
No, I haven't.
I have to tell you, in getting to know you a little bit now, I think that you are going to absolutely
I've heard it's
love
amazing.
it.
Yes.
Everyone I know who's seen it's loved it.
Next time you're in New York.
I've now seen it with 3 different Marys. I've seen it with Cola Scola. I've seen Hannah Solo, the understudy, and
Betty
2 nights ago
Gilpin.
we saw Betty Gilpin, who was fantastic. And it's just
and different every time.
every time. And it's just just really interesting to see something like start as that off-Broadway moment and then know Cole was doing it and to now see an actress like Betty doing it. It's just, it's, the interpretation is like, it's ever evolving. I just think you have such an amazing sense of humor. You would absolutely love this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no.
I don't know
next
how long
time.
you're in town.
It's such a, no, well.
Yeah, right. You're doing
I
your
just
thing.
came in to see you guys.
And we're so happy.
It was worth it. We canceled a show at the Barghain in London, but I'm so happy.
Okay, so it might be time to do I Don't Think So, Honey, which is our 60-second segment where we take something in pop culture that really needs to get pummeled into the ground.
Yes.
And I have something.
Okay.
It's sort of been popping up for years now, and I would like to.
It's disturbing you. I can tell you rubbing your forehead.
Yeah, that was my tell.
That's your white sneaker.
Let's go.
All right. This is Matt Rogers. I Don't Think So, and his time starts now.
I Don't Think So, Honey, Buddy. one of my buddies. I got a buddy who, let me tell you something, buddy. Like, maybe it's the consonants, the B and the D. I don't think
Fricative, or I don't know.
It's too fricative,
Yeah.
and I was going to use the word
Or
fricative.
maybe it's not even fricative.
A buddy if you're not a buddy?
Yeah, my thing is just like it feels like something, and it's been used sexually a couple times with me amongst gay men
yes!
when my white sneakers were really popping off, and I don't like it there. I don't know what it is.
30 seconds.
It feels like when you use the word buddy, you're not saying friend. It feels like something we're like backing off or like trying.
It's an act of aggression.
Yes.
It's an act of aggression, the use of the word buddy, or it's just not committing to what it is. It's my close friend. It's my, I think some people, especially the gay guys I've been having sex with, I'm your lover. Okay, just call me something else, not buddy. It's like when someone calls you dude.
5 seconds.
And that's very fricative as well, we think, maybe.
Yeah.
D&D. Dude and buddy, I'm just not feeling it. I think we should say, I think we should just use our words with more intention. Because buddy, it's existing in a gray area. I don't think so, honey.
And that's 1 minute. You know.
Do you use buddy?
I do say dude a bit.
Dude is okay for you.
Is it for a straight white woman to say dude?
I think dude is fine. I have less of a problem with it. It's not my fit. I guess what I'm saying is when gay guys,
I'm going out with my buddy.
Yeah.
It's like what am I to you?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Where do I exist?
Yeah.
Because buddy isn't like it's existing in an area between acquaintance and
I'd
friend.
never thought about it.
I don't like
This
it.
is an educational podcast.
This is an educational podcast. Friend, I'm going to put a theory out there. Like, the English language is sort of limited in the kind of words we have for friend.
Mm-hmm.
Buddy, I don't like when someone's like 5 times out of 10, I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm. Half the time.
Half the time, when someone says, "Hey, friend," I go, "Huh?" Like I shudder a bit.
Well, hey, no. Here's what I'm saying. It's not. It's
hey
less,
anything.
Yeah.
Hey you, hey buddy, hey friend. It's like hello,
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's just like
I'd rather you say
Squeeze me is back now
Squeeze me is back.
as a result of you saying it.
It's the same kind of weird. We haven't found the right word yet that feels right on the tongue.
For what?
For friend.
For friendship.
In the same way that we don't have the good words for marijuana. Weed, pot.
Yeah, but I like reefer.
Doobie, reefer.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know. But what would you say? In what context are you calling someone a friend or a buddy or a mate or a pal?
I think I got triggered.
I like pal.
I like pal. I like mate too.
Mate is fun.
Mate
is
is
just,
fun.
it's
Not
not.
in Australia.
Mate-
It's just so overused.
Is it really?
Really?
Mate. G'day,
Yeah.
mate.
I don't know.
But maybe the way you say it's probably not so bad.
I've got some mates in town. I mean, it doesn't sound right. It
But
feels,
don't you think lover is such a kind of
Yeah, I don't like it.
it's I feel like it's taking your shirt off in an inappropriate way.
It's too intimate.
At a dinner. But sweetheart, I think my sweetheart
You
is
know what
really
I say,
nice.
and my friends make fun of me? I say, "Thank you, my love."
I
Oh,
love
yeah.
my
At
love.
restaurants, I say my
Yes.
love. I
Yes.
call a lot of people my love, and our friend Jared is always like, "I want to die when you say it," and I'm like, "Well, that's how I feel about buddy."
I
Yeah.
love my love.
But you wouldn't call a waiter buddy.
Or if you did, I was in the service industry for 10 years. I've done hard yards.
Mhm.
Getting called buddy, it feels degrading.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's what I'm
Yes.
picking up on.
Yes, it's a post trauma.
Yes.
You haven't recovered from your waiting time.
I
your time
think
as a
this
waiter.
we stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that. It feels like a little bit of a put down, or like
Yes.
or it feels like that's maybe what I'm getting at with it, that it feels non-committal.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's just it's there's something
It's pat.
punched down about it.
Yeah.
It's pat.
Maybe.
It's simply pat.
Simply pat.
Okay,
It's
so
interesting. Fascinating.
I don't know. Yeah, I needed to walk that through, and I'm
like-
happy we did here today.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is Bowen Yang's I Don't Think So, Honey. Did you come prepared
Oh,
today?
I did. And this has been brewing for several years as well.
For several years. We're really unearthing a lot
Oh
today.
wow. Okay.
This ended up being
I'm
therapy.
here. I'm here.
Yeah.
So this is Bowen Yang's I Don't Think So, Honey. His time starts now.
I don't think so, honey. Hakuna Matata.
Oh,
No worries for the rest of your days.
privilege.
I'm worried. It's not even a privilege thing. It's a detachment from the human condition, which is to experience steak, experience some kind of investment in the future.
Evolve.
And how can you be invested in the future if you're not worried a little bit about losing the thing that you want, about about letting go of desire. It
30
feels,
seconds.
feels too Buddhist, too aggressively Buddhist, which is not what Buddhism is, which is, anathema to Buddhism in the first place. You can't be an aggressive Buddhist. To say no worries for the rest of your days, to be that absolute about not worrying, something's off.
15 seconds.
You're numbing yourself too much to circumstance, to what life throws at you. You're going to be worried because guess what? Everyone in this room,
5
I'm looking at you,
seconds.
Vahid, Matt behind the camera. We're all worried.
You have something to worry about.
You all have something to worry about.
And that's 1 minute.
They're pretending not to be, but they're worried.
Also, not for nothing, they were a warthog and a groundhog. What were
A meerkat.
A meerkat, thank you. In Africa, you have worries.
You've got worries.
There are predators all around you. Be worried. Stay vigilant in these streets. And by these streets, I do mean the prairie lands,
The prairie
the
lands.
jungles.
Red room.
Yes, this red room.
This red
Stay
room.
on
Be
your
afraid.
toes.
Be very afraid.
Hakuna Matata, I think not. It's Real Culture number 14.
Hakuna Matata, I think not.
I loved that, Bowen.
Thank you. It's from the heart.
Yeah.
We were told that you came prepared as well.
I meant to have one. I'm
Yes.
not going to be as eloquent as you are.
That's okay.
But I have something. I have a lot of things that really, What's the first bit I have to say?
You say, I don't think so, honey.
I don't-
blank. I don't
Okay.
think so, honey.
Okay.
This thing.
And we're going to put the timer up, but I think you should feel unbounded by this. And just
Okay.
really
Unmoored.
I don't think so, honey. Timing. I don't think so, honey. No.
Yes, yes.
Hakuna Matata in terms of this.
In terms of this.
No, my blood pressure's just gone up. Okay.
We're just going to put it up just for ceremony.
Okay.
This is Cate Blanchett's I Don't Think So, Honey. Her time starts now.
I don't think so, honey, leaving the toilet seat up. And
Here we
I am
go.
not talking
Bring this
about
back.
the lid. I am talking about the thing that you sit on.
Of course.
In a domestic setting, men may think, or people with penises may think that their aim is good.
No.
But it is all over the seat, and I have to put that thing down because in the end, everyone sits down more than they stand up.
100%.
And when you are at, somebody else's house and it's not only the pee that goes onto the seat, it's little bits of hair. And you think I want to touch that? You think I want to smell that? And so I have to put it down and then I put the seat down and then the whole thing comes up and it starts all over again. And if you are
vicious
in a
cycle.
public bathroom, it's like I am going to invest in a shiwi. Because do you know what a shiwi
Shiwi?
is?
No, please,
Oh my
tell
God.
us.
It's a cup with a little tube on it that women use for going for a bush wee when they're camping.
I
I don't
see.
want to have to spend money just because people who need to put that should be putting the seat down
Right.
can't pee straight.
Right.
Oh my
And
God.
so it's my whole thing is the toilet seat thing. And I live in a household with 3 boys and my husband, and each of them say, I always put it down, which is almost
Lies.
more enraging. Lies.
Liars.
Lies.
That's the plot of
And that's
Black
1 minute.
Bag.
It
And that's
is.
1 minute. There's
Who's
a traitor.
lying?
There's a traitor in your midst.
Yeah.
But this is.
You're going to defend yourself?
Don't
No,
make an excuse.
I'm not
I
defending.
don't want to hear your defense because it is not true.
I'm not defending myself. I'm actually.
But-
I'm sort of self-owning when I say it's always so jarring. This is the thing about living alone. That's my hair. I got to get mad at myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you find yourself getting mad at yourself if you go, well,
I don't shed.
Yeah.
but you can't control that, can you?
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah. Years of work.
I am Taurus. I told you that before I
Oh
came
my
in.
God, yeah.
I'm
Taurus.
very controlling. Hair, stay in there.
Stay
I
in
can't
there.
stand going to someone else's bathroom and when they're okay
Yeah.
with hair being all over the toilet. Like I am essentially like a top level cleaner whenever I have anyone coming over. I make sure I put muscle into it.
I know, but do you put the lid down?
Always.
Yes.
The lid.
Yes.
I want photographic evidence. That's what my husband said. And he said, come on, just leave me alone. It's 6 a.m. I do put it down. And I go to the toilet seat and it's like, do I we've been married 27 years and we are still married because
Yes.
I just had to let it go.
Mhm.
But
It's
I
that thing.
tried to teach my boys, but I realized they're even imprinted on my husband. So
Ugh.
I failed as a parent.
No.
Certainly
I
not.
have.
No,
I'm
no,
exposing
no.
my sons in a way that I probably shouldn't be.
We don't know which of the sons.
Yeah.
All of them.
Well, you've now specified.
Yeah.
So there we go.
All of them.
You can ask us for photographic evidence. You, as a mother, this is your success as a mother is that you're not asking photographic evidence of them. You
No,
would never make them
It's
take
true.
photos.
I know. I don't shame them.
Right.
No.
But they do get the passive aggressive. every time I go to the bathroom.
My thing is, and I'll reveal this, and I bet you'll agree, the older I get, I'm sitting down to pee more anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no,
If
see,
I'm at
this is
home,
the
I'm
thing, because
sitting.
I do have male friends who sit down out of deference to their friends of all sexual
Yes,
persuasions and
yes.
orientations. I'm going to sit down because I'm not going to miss if I sit down.
Exactly. The risk becomes exponentially less when you are, when quite frankly, your dick is already in the bowl.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And if you don't have a dick, your hole's in the bowl.
Your holes in the bowl. Honestly,
It's a win-win all around.
Win-win.
this is huge. And with that,
You can cut that out. My mother's going to listen. I'm sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. No, and this is good for us for Berghain because there's the piss goblin there, and
There's probably a hole in the bowl room.
there's a hole in the
Oh,
bowl
yeah.
room. You know, we're all going to be sitting. I'm sitting
Yeah.
on the piss goblin.
Okay. And I
Look forward to
I
that.
will not get photographic evidence
No,
of that.
you can't.
No.
But I'll get the descriptor.
Absolutely.
we'll fill you in.
Have fun.
Thank you.
We're going to have the best time, just like we did today. This was so amazing to have you. It's
Thanks
such an
for having
honor.
me.
It's so great to meet you, and you really are just one of the best. And, this has just been so
One
lovely.
of the best.
Well, would
Is
you...
that like calling me your friend?
would you...
Your pal, your buddy.
No,
Hey, buddy,
listen,
you're
buddy.
one of the best.
Listen, Betty, you're one of the best.
No, you're meant to say to every guest, you're the best.
You are the
and
greatest
they leave
of all
feeling
time.
good about themselves.
We're so sorry.
And see, and the next one comes in, you are the best.
You are the best.
Like you two
Undisputed.
are.
You're the undisputed
Best.
best.
Oh,
we
really?
named an award after you, for God's
You got the
sake.
know.
Cate Blanchett Award for good
I
acting.
know.
It was named
I was
after
so
you.
chuffed
Listen.
and confused.
I can understand.
I can
When we
understand
sent those
confusion.
asked out, we're like, are they
Equal
going to have any reference for this? And then the fact that you went out and did it, we were like, thank you for the commitment.
Bless you.
Ugh,
Well, we end every episode with a song.
we sure do. We should. Well, I wish we only had. We're an orchestra right now. We can play and be conducted.
Second cello. Let's see. Boy, you got my heartbeat running away, beating like a drum and it's coming your way. Oh, I feel like boom, 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 boom,
I think I tried a harmony there and it didn't work.
It's okay. We'll get it next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Las Culturistas is a production by Will Ferrell's Big Money Players and iHeartRadio podcasts.
Created and hosted by Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang. Executive produced by Anna Hosnier and Hans Sani.
Produced by Becca Ramos. Edited and mixed by Doug Babe and Monique Laborde.
And our music is by Henry Kaburski.